Lincoln Wheat Penny 1972. The small coin that could hide a big surprise. Imagine finding a 1-cent coin in an old jar, a drawer, a cash register, or even a box of forgotten change, and then discovering that the tiny piece of copper-colored metal could be worth far more than 1 cent. That is exactly why coin collectors continue to search through Lincoln Wheat pennies and other vintage U.S. coins. Today on Hardest Penny, we're taking a close look at the 1972 Lincoln Wheat penny, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but has an interesting history and several details that collectors should know. So before you spend, clean, or throw away a 1972 penny, take a few seconds to examine it carefully, because sometimes the smallest coins can tell the biggest stories. 1972 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The 1972 Lincoln penny is an important coin to understand because it belongs to a fascinating period in American coinage. However, there is one very important fact that many people overlook. The regular 1972 Lincoln cent is not actually a wheat penny. By 1972, the United States Mint was producing the Lincoln Memorial cent, which had the Lincoln Memorial Building on the reverse. The famous Lincoln Wheat reverse, featuring 2 wheat ears, ended in 1958. So if you have a coin dated 1972, you're looking at a Lincoln Memorial cent, not a traditional Lincoln Wheat penny. That distinction is extremely important for collectors and viewers who search for 1972 Lincoln Wheat penny value. A genuine 1972 Lincoln cent should normally have the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. If a coin appears to have a wheat reverse, but carries a 1972 date, that unusual combination deserves very careful examination because it could involve an altered coin, a damaged coin, or an unusual error or variety that needs professional authentication. The obverse of a 1972 Lincoln cent features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces to the right, with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surrounding his portrait. The date, 1972, appears below Lincoln. Depending on where the coin was struck, you may also see a small mint mark beneath the date. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. Above the building is the inscription United States of America, while E pluribus unum appears above the memorial. The denomination 1 cent is located below the building. Now here is where the story becomes much more interesting. The year 1972 is famous among Lincoln cent collectors because of a major double die variety. The 1972 double die obverse, commonly known as the 1972 DDO, is one of the varieties that collectors actively search for. This is not simply a coin that looks blurry or damaged. A genuine double die is created during the die-making process, causing certain design elements to appear doubled. On a genuine 1972 double die obverse, collectors pay particular attention to areas such as the lettering and date. Strong doubling can sometimes be seen in words like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date. The exact appearance and strength of the doubling matter greatly. A coin with ordinary machine doubling, strike weakness, scratches, or damage should not automatically be called a double die. This is one of the biggest mistakes new coin hunters make. They see a second-looking edge around a letter and immediately assume they have discovered a rare coin. But true double dies and mechanical or strike doubling are different things. Understanding that difference can save collectors from false excitement and help them recognize the real treasures. The 1972 double die cent became famous because thousands of examples exist, but strong, genuine examples are still highly desirable. The value can vary dramatically depending on the exact variety, condition, color, quality, and authentication. A heavily worn coin with weak details may be worth much less than a high-grade example with clear doubling. Another important detail is the mint mark. In 1972, Lincoln cents were struck at multiple U.S. mint facilities. Philadelphia coins generally have no mint mark, while Denver coins carry a D. San Francisco also produced cents during this era, with an S mint mark. Collectors should therefore check carefully below the date. But remember, the mint mark alone does not make a 1972 penny rare. Millions of ordinary cents were produced, and most examples found in circulation are worth only around face value unless they possess a collectible variety, error, or unusually high condition. Condition is another major factor. Imagine two identical 1972 Lincoln cents. One has been circulating for decades. Its surfaces are scratched, its lettering is worn, and its original color has disappeared. The other has sharp details, attractive surfaces, and almost no evidence of circulation. Even though both coins carry the same date, their collector appeal can be dramatically different. This is why coin collectors examine luster, surface marks, strike quality, color, and overall preservation. Lincoln cents are often described using color designations such as brown, and red. Original red color can be especially desirable when combined with excellent preservation. If you discover a promising 1972 cent, resist the temptation to clean it. Cleaning a coin may make it look brighter to an inexperienced observer, but collectors generally consider harsh cleaning a serious problem. Scrubbing, polishing, chemicals, abrasive materials, or household cleaners can permanently damage the original surface. A coin that might have had collectible value can become less desirable after improper cleaning. Instead, hold the coin carefully by its edges and examine it under good lighting. A simple magnifying glass can help you inspect the date, mint mark, lettering, and possible doubling. Look closely at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date if you're searching specifically for the famous 1972 double die variety. You should also compare the coin with reliable reference photographs or have it examined by an experienced numismatist. If a coin appears to have a significant double die, professional authentication can become especially important before making claims about its value. There is another fascinating reason collectors enjoy these coins: history. A 1972 Lincoln cent is more than a piece of pocket change. It was produced during a period when the United States was experiencing major cultural, political, technological, and economic changes. People use these cents to buy everyday goods, pay for small purchases, and carry out ordinary transactions. Decades later, one of those same coins can become a tiny time capsule from the early 1970s. You do not always need an extremely old coin to discover something interesting. Sometimes a coin from only a few decades ago can contain a variety, an error, or a condition rarity that makes collectors stop and take a second look. So, how much is a 1972 Lincoln cent worth? For most ordinary circulated examples, the answer is simple. Usually around 1 cent common coins should not be advertised as rare treasures simply because they are dated in 1972. However, collectible varieties, errors, and high-grade examples can command premiums. The famous 1972 double die obverse is the variety that deserves the most attention when searching through this date. The exact value of a rare example depends on authentication, grade, eye appeal, color designation, and current collector demand. Auction results and professional grading records can provide much better evidence than random online listings, where sellers sometimes place extremely high asking prices on ordinary coins. So if you have a 1972 Lincoln cent, don't immediately assume you have a fortune, but don't ignore it either. Turn the coin over. Check the reverse. Look under the date for the mint mark. Inspect the lettering. Study the date. Look for genuine doubling rather than simple damage. And most importantly, never clean the coin before determining whether it has collector value. One small detail can make all the difference. Maybe your 1972 penny is completely ordinary. That is perfectly fine. It is still a piece of American history. But if you notice unusual doubling, an unexpected mint characteristic, an interesting error, or exceptional condition, that is when the coin becomes much more exciting. And this is exactly why Hardest Penny exists, to remind you that valuable discoveries can sometimes be hiding in the places where you least expect them. The next time you receive a handful of pennies, slow down before putting them away. Look at the dates. Examine the designs. Check the mint marks. Compare unusual coins with reliable references. You might not find a rare coin every day, but every search teaches you something new. The 1972 Lincoln cent may have a face value of just 1 cent, but its story is worth much more than that. From the famous double-die variety to the ordinary coins that have survived more than half a century, this little cent represents the excitement of American coin collecting. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate a penny, because the next coin you find could be the one that makes you look twice. And remember, here on Hardest Penny, we believe every old coin has a story, and sometimes that story begins with just 1 cent.